Have you ever felt like everyone around you was getting married except you? No? Just me? Well, let me tell you something. If waiting on God was a sport, I'd have an Olympic gold medal. My mom? She was my #1 coach, always telling me that my time was running out. But wait, it gets worse. My mom tried to set me up with Desmond. And Desmond? Oh, you're gonna love this guy, if you enjoy horror movies. You remember Desmond, right? My friend Patricia's son. He is successful, gentle, loves God, kind. You'll love him. I think he's the perfect one for you. And guess what? He's interested in meeting you. Oh, the way she hyped him, she made it sound like I was about to meet the next Apostle Paul. So I agreed. I mean, what could go wrong? The first date was deceiving. Desmond was rich, well-dressed, charming. He had that confidence that made you think, wow, maybe this is it. But, oh, how quickly the mask fell. A few weeks in, the red flags were waving like a parade. At dinner one night, a waitress accidentally spilled water on him.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident.
Are you out of your mind? Do you even know who I am? Do you even know how much this suit costs? Your entire salary for a year couldn't pay for this. This is insane.
It's okay, calm down. It was just an accident. Accidents happen, gosh, and
His reaction? He yelled at her so loudly that the entire restaurant turned. I was mortified. I apologized on his behalf, but he just scoffed. And then, I tried bringing up spiritual things. You know, testing the waters. Maybe we could study the Bible together sometime? His response? Oh yeah, sure. But I'm kind of busy with work. Maybe later. But the moment I mentioned a concert, a weekend trip, or a party, he was suddenly free. Something felt off. But I kept convincing myself, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe no one is perfect. Then came the breaking point. One evening, we were driving home from an event. I casually mentioned something about wanting a husband who truly loves and fears God. He laughed. Yes, laughed and said, "You and this your church girl talk. Relax, Esther. Life isn't that serious." I sat there in shock. And then he did the unthinkable. He pulled over and said, "You know what? Maybe you should walk home. Think about what you really want." I laughed nervously, waiting for him to say, "Just kidding." But no, this man actually drove off. That was it. That was my sign from God in big flashing letters, run. The next day, I told my mom. She was disappointed, but for the first time, I stood my ground. I was done rushing. I was going to wait on God. Months passed. No dates, no setups, just me and God. And honestly, it was the most peaceful time of my life. Then, one evening, a popular Christian band was in town. My friends convinced me to go, and that night, my life changed. That's when I met Elijah. We weren't even looking for each other. We just happened to stand next to each other in the crowd, worshiping. After the event, we started talking. And talking, and talking. It wasn't forced. It wasn't complicated. It was natural. Over time, we became friends, then best friends. Then one day, he asked me out. And this time, there was peace. Elijah wasn't the richest man in the world, but he had something money couldn't buy. He had God. He had integrity. He had a heart that truly loved me the way Christ loves the church. And after waiting, after trusting, after letting God write my story, he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. Now, we're building a life together. Not perfect, but blessed. And I can confidently say, when God says wait, it's always worth it. I know waiting can feel lonely. I know it can feel like you're missing out. But let me remind you, God is not late. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." So if you're in a season of waiting, trust that God is writing your story. Not just any story, but a beautiful one. Because when God says wait, It's because he has something far greater ahead.